How do we clean and organize something that's overwhelming for us? How do we get started on such a project? And for a lot of people with and without ADHD, we look at a room that's very messy and disorganized, and we just close the door. We close the closet. We just don't even know where to start. And so I think when we look at a project like that, there's boxes, there's old stuff, there's maybe some stuff that we put there, like I keep my, certain, like if I go to Costco and I buy lots of walnuts, I keep them in the basement. Some of you may have wine down there or art supplies. Where are you going to start? So what we want to do is to prioritize the task. So I would ask you, those of you who want to clean something, what is your goal? The first thing you want to do is to identify the goal. Is your goal to have it perfectly clean? That's fine. We're going to have to prioritize the steps to get there. Perhaps your goal is just to have a path to get from one side of the basement to the other. So what I would like to think about is what is your goal? That's the first thing you want to identify. The second thing I want you to do is to take a survey of what's in the basement. What do you have there? What the boxes of old clothes, boxes where you put your winter clothes or your summer clothes, old papers, your kids, book report from first grade, even though they're 30 now. What's in the basement? What do you notice? And we want to divide those into categories: kids stuff, old clothes, kitchen and other gadgets I don't use but I'm afraid to get rid of. And I think what we want to do when you're doing a project like that is you want to have 4 boxes or 4 bags or 4 containers, and each of them is going to be labeled differently. So the first one is trash. The second one is giveaway. The third one might be keep, and the fourth one might be the maybe pile. Okay? The maybe pile is stuff that you're not ready to get rid of, that you're not sure you want to keep, and that doesn't go in the trash. And this maybe pile is where a lot of times we get stuck when we have to do a task such as cleaning up our basement, because we're not sure, we don't really want to commit, and we're afraid to Marie Kondo the basement, because what if you need something someday and it's not there? I'd like you to consider the 3-year rule. If you haven't used it or worn it or looked at it in 3 years, why are you keeping it? Now, I want to admit something. My kids are in their 20s, and I have a small plastic container with cedar balls that has some of my, favorite of their baby clothes. Not too many, just a few things, a hat, a particular outfit that I'm saving. Why am I saving them? I have no idea, except that when I look at them every 4 or 5 years, or I see the container, it makes me happy. And maybe in some fantasy land, I think, if my kids ever have kids, I can give them some of those things. That's it, 1 box. The rest of it I gave away, because in reality, my kids are going to want to clothe, feed, manage their kids in whatever way makes sense for them. So when you have these 4 bags, trash, keep, give away, and maybe, it helps you start to create a plan for how to do your basement. Then you want to start in one section. You cannot aim to clean the whole basement. So, basically, section off. I'm just going to do this little square today, and give yourself a time limit. Okay, I'm going to do this little square. I'm going to work for 1 hour. Whatever I don't accomplish in 1 hour, I'll come back to the next time I have my clean the basement thing. Now, you may want to just dive in and stay there as long as possible. Think about that for a minute. What is the maximum amount of time you can actually work in the basement on this task before you burn out? Because we want to catch you before you're on that downslide, right? Because once you're going down that slide and you're burning out, you're starting to get fried, you're not making decisions, you hate this task. As soon as you feel like you're reaching your max, stop. That's when you want to stop. When you notice that you're getting distracted, you're tired, you're hungry, you're getting cranky, the music you're playing isn't working for you anymore, that's when you want to stop. And then take 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 pride in what you accomplished. Take the bag with the trash and put it in your trash. Take the maybe bag and think about, just leave it there. And then take the giveaway bag and take it to Goodwill or the Salvation Army or a family in need who might use those items. Then you will have gotten rid of 2 of the 4 bags. The keep bag and the maybe bag. Unless you know exactly where you're going to put those keep things, just leave it there for now. Then I want you to follow up in a few days and come back. Look through that maybe bag again. Are there any things in there that you could put in the giveaway bag or the trash bag? These would be new giveaway or trash bags. Then figure out where you're going to put these things that are in the keep pile. The maybe pile should be empty. And then you're done with that section of the basement. Give a dance for yourself and then take a break for a couple days or a week. Circle back. Now you have one clean area and you repeat the whole thing again in another area. You could also divide it by categories. Today I'm going to do all the toys. You have the same bags, keep, give away, maybe, and trash, and you divide all the toys. And then you get rid of the toys. So you can go by content or you can go by geography. I hope that's helpful. And we've posted a guide to home organization. So let me back up a bit because there's a lot of good comments here. Let's see. For Danita, it's your whole house. So for you, Danita, for those of you who have homes where you feel like the whole thing is kind of like a tornado has hit the house, start with one room. One room. And you're going to tidy that one room in this method that I told you, either by content or by geography. If you're doing a room at a time, like the kitchen, I encourage you to do anything that's going to get rid of some of the clutter. And when you put the things in the bags, your bags cannot stay in that room when you finish cleaning. Unlike the basement where the bags can stay, in the kitchen they need to be disposed of and removed. If you have trouble figuring out where you're going to put your mail, where your shoes go, where your gloves go, consider some of these things. Shoe bags are great for gloves and hats. Milk crates are great for shoes and also gloves and hats. It helps to have a place for everything. My dad used to say everything has its place, and I would roll my eyes and whatever when I was a teen. I think he's right, actually. When you know where the place is for something to go, when you have a box that you put your mail in, and then you have a day where you look through it, or right away you come in, you look through your mail, you have the recycle bin for the stuff you don't need, and then a place for the stuff that you want to keep. It helps you move out of the everything goes everywhere and into knowing that things have a particular place. Hi, Megan from Australia, and Lynn. Karen asks, why can't I get started with cleaning? It's so overwhelming and you give up. So what I want you to do is, again, start with a smaller area. If you think you're going to clean your whole house, that's overwhelming. It's like climbing Mount Everest. Start with just one room and see how you're doing. Now, Ben is asking me, how do I conserve working memory for priority tasks? I'm not sure what you mean by that question, Ben, about conserving working memory. Could you get back to me on that? Soraya, hi from Maryland. Hi. You're looking for some time blindness strategies for projects, school assignments, and for high school age ADHD, ASD level 1 daughter. Okay, so this is a different category, so I appreciate that. When time blindness, it really comes from a sense of not understanding time. And so when we don't understand time, we don't really, oftentimes people with ADHD and combined ASD don't feel time. And so it's difficult to know, how long something takes or when what to sort of what to budget. And so what happens with time blindness is you don't feel what time is, but you also don't know how to correctly estimate what you can do in the time that's available. So we want to teach better time estimation skills. And that's kind of getting into the nitty gritty here. What that means is we have to help kids understand how long something actually takes. And to that, I would say you need an analog clock or a time timer so that you set a timer when you're starting and when you're stopping and how long that took so you can then apply that to things in the future. One of the challenges for people with ADHD is they either overestimate their ability to do something in a given amount of time, like, oh, I'll get that done in no time, or they underestimate how long the task will actually take. And so they don't get it done then either. Either way, they're not efficiently gauging time. So we want to help teach time management. And it's very easy to do that because time responds well to direct instruction. So of course, we want to work with the analog clocks. We wanted to get some more information. Could you come up with a chart of when you start something and when you finish with your daughter? The other thing is you want to teach backwards design. I'm a big fan of backwards design. I start at a certain time. I have to be ready for my first client at 10 a.m. I want to exercise. That takes me 30 to 45 minutes. I want to shower, stretch, have breakfast. So, all of those things, the shower, get dressed, that's another 15 minutes. The stretch might be another 10 minutes. So now I'm looking at an hour and 10 minutes. I might want to have breakfast. That's another 15 minutes. So it's basically, I need to be up and out of my bed by 8 a.m. to be ready for 10 a.m. And if I want to have some time to look at my emails, I need to be up by 7:30. I'm working backwards and I'm gauging I'm estimating an amount of time to do something, and that will include some extra time in case I, get a phone call or there's an emergency or something like that. So the second thing you want to do is to teach backwards design and use it yourself so you can model with her, okay, we're going to go to the mall at 4. What do we need to do to be ready to leave at 4? And you can help her work through that. Carmen. Harlan says, I'm working with my husband on the difference between storage as keeping and storage with accessibility. I love that, Harlan, because there are things that we keep, like my box of baby clothes, and then there's things that I need access to, like my files from my previous clients. So they have to have those in a filing cabinet with some system of alphabetizing so I can get to them when I need them. I don't need to get to those baby clothes, so they can be behind the filing cabinet, so to speak. Lynn says, we put all of my Sam stuff down in the basement when he passed to sort through all that stuff. I don't think I understand your question. Maybe you could ask that a little more clearly. Ben, you're saying your number one goal is to prioritize or deal with your working memory. And I think that working memory, because working memory, oh, here you go, goal, one, goal, 2, inventory of cluttered space, categorize trash, give away, keep, maybe piles. Yes. Okay. So that's right, Ben. Thank you for sharing that. The thing that I want to say that you asked about working memory, and here's the thing, our executive functioning skills are really divided into 2 categories. There are the hot skills, the things we're conscious of, and those are things actually like time management, organization, planning and prioritizing, verbal and behavioral impulse control, emotional control. And then there are the things that are more unconscious: working memory, sustained attention, goal-directed persistence, metacognition, and so shift and flexibility. And so the hot skills are easier to intervene with because we're aware that we're not doing them and we can do something. Working memory is the cool skills such as working memory or sustained attention really require more focus to actually shift. So one of the best things that you can do for working memory is to write things down. Leave yourself notes. I mean, I hate to tell you, my desk, I have Post-its on my computer, little things to remind me of, things I want, little affirmations and, certain things about ADHD that I want to make sure that I have, or stuff I have to do. And that helps, guide me in my path of what I'm doing. It can be the same thing when you're cleaning your basement. Today, I'm only going to do the toys, and I'm going to do my piles. Next month on the first Sunday of the month, I'm going to move toward old clothes, things I don't wear. And so that can, one of the challenges with ADHD is that the stress of trying to remember things actually makes you worse at remembering them. So instead of fighting that, give in. Use alerts, use alarms, use voice memos, send yourself emails, create a second email account of things that you want to remember, and just email things into that, and you could check it. Or use an online calendar or a paper calendar or a whiteboard. Figure out what are ways that you can remind yourself of things, and don't be ashamed about it. We all need reminders. It's allowing yourself to do something that works and not being hard on yourself because you need it. That's what'll help. Um, let's see. Yeah, at least I agree. 2020 does not count. Michelle, I need help for a high school homework when it gets in the middle of video game distractions. Teens don't want to get help from anyone, just suggestions about getting it done. Right. So I think that when right now, because kids are online for school, and then they want to be online to hang out, and their brain doesn't have like an online break. What I would encourage is that they go to school and then they have an offline break, a snack, anything, maybe listening to music, going for a run, jumping on a trampoline, whatever it is, but some time where they're not online. And then to do the homework first with the fun screen stuff as the reward. I have a client who is in 8th grade, and her parents told me this week that she comes home from, school, whatever, comes home from school, unquotes. It's hers. She goes to hybrid school, so she's either at school or at her dining room table at school. And then she goes right on her phone. And then she wants to have a snack, and then they can't get her to do her homework because she won't get off her phone. That's just not, that order is just not going to work. You finish school, you have your snack, you do your homework, then you can earn your phone. It has to go that way, or for most kids, or they won't get to the stuff they need to do. So we want to put the have tos before the want tos. Yes, Danita, this is all normal. Hi, Sarah, ADHD teacher teaching remote students from home. Can't keep track of all the online assignments. Okay, so what I would encourage you to do, Sarah, is to use an Excel spreadsheet. Use technology to help yourself. If you're having trouble keeping track of things, then your system for keeping track of things isn't working. So we want to create a different system. And maybe you need an Excel spreadsheet for each of your classes with the assignments listed so that you can, manage it a little bit more effectively. Jessica, when in doubt, throw it out. Love that. I know Marie Kondo would love that too. Susan Richardson, I finally got rid of lots of kids' school crafts last year. They were in college. Ha ha, I love that. Naomi, hi, good evening. How would you present having ADHD with getting reasonable job adjustments in job interviews? Due to the pressure and the new environment, the panel needs to be a bit more accommodating in an interview environment, but the panel don't give me extra time to process the question, and the academics on the panel don't give me a fair chance. There seems to be a preconceived assumption that I can't manage a higher caseload. Naomi. Well, Naomi, I hear what you're saying, and I'm sorry about that. I think that what I would do in this situation is write a letter with information about ADHD and ADHD processing, and that this medium of online communication may be harder for you and take more time for you to process. And that's part of having ADHD. Some of the challenges can be, the unconscious, the cool skills can be about working memory, but it can also be related to processing speed. Which is how you take in, absorb, and process information. What are you doing with the information that's coming in? And so you may need actual more time. And so I think the thing is to give them some information in a super kind way and let them know that this is what you need and that it's not because something's wrong with you. It's just that this medium it doesn't work so well for you. Danita, the bags can't stay in the house. They have to go out right away. I happen to agree. My problem, says KB, is not the tasks, it's getting started. So one of the reasons that people procrastinate is because there are a few reasons. One is perfectionism procrastination. If I can't do it right or absolutely the way I want, I'm not going to do it. The second is avoidance procrastination. I don't like doing this. The task, like I said, seems like Mount Everest. It's huge. I'll never finish it. Or I've not been successful at this task before. Why do I think I'm going to be successful now? So the third type of procrastination is productive procrastination. And that's I'm going to do this other smaller thing that is okay. And I'm not going to do that big thing. I'm just going to keep avoiding that. So I think I'm doing something, I'm getting something done, but I'm really still avoiding the thing that I have to do. So what you want to do with procrastination, the antidote to procrastination is breaking things down into smaller pieces. That's why when I was talking about cleaning the kitchen or your basement is you break it down. You can break it down by content. Today I'm going to get rid of all the papers on all the surfaces. I'm going to just have those boxes, keep, recycle, trash, whatever, and then I'm going to move on to something else. Or you can go by an area. I'm just going to work on this part, this room, just the living room today, and then next time I do my cleaning, I'll work on another room. That helps you see with something that's manageable. If that's still too big for you, break it down some more. I'm going to deal with this small 1-foot radius of junk. That's it. It's okay to make things really small so that you can get started. There's no shame in that. That's what'll help you feel like it's doable. Put some music on, maybe have an accountability buddy, someone you can call at the moment when you're trying to start, who can say, okay, I'm here with you, we're going to do this. What do you see? What's your first step? How are you going to take it? You're welcome, Jose. Yes. Yes, you're tired. Of course, we're all tired by spending so much time in our homes and online. And so again, I feel like we want to start small so that we can feel like, okay, I've done this. My office by the end of the week can be filled with papers and I look at it and I just, ugh. So today I'm just going to deal with, you know, this stack of papers right here, so it's clean for next week. Only this stack, the other stacks can be okay. I'm just going to clean off this one stack. And then I feel like I've made some headway. It's not perfect, but I've made a little headway. And that's what we want. We want you to feel like I've made some headway. Megan says, I find it so distracting with trying to get organized while my partner just wants things out of sight and it drives me crazy. He puts everything I've sorted into the one box. No, you've got to have the things that you've sorted in the names of the sorted boxes. This is what helps your system of organizing. And if your partner's goal is for the general, environment to be more organized, your partner has to work with you on the system that makes sense for you if you're the one who's struggling with organization. And so that's hard for partners because they're like, well, this is the right way to do it. You have to do it my way. And what you want to say is, you know what? Your way works for you. I have my own system of organizing. Dr. Sharon calls it a self-smart system of organizing. And I'm doing my self-smart system of organizing. These are my boxes or my piles, and this is how I'm doing it. I agree, Jessica. If you start with a time frame, that could be easier. I'm going to do 15 minutes. I'm going to pick up whatever I can in 15 minutes. And in fact, I recommend families doing this at night. Have a 5 or 10 minute evening sweep where everyone goes around and picks up their stuff and finds a place for it where it's supposed to go. Um, I'm glad you have a big clock, Megan. That's great. Um, Out of sight personality. Backwards planning. Got it. I'm glad you get that, Kurt. Neville, I've lost my job. Oh, I'm so sorry. Because I kept telling my boss that I'll finish a task in X hours and then realized too late that I vastly overestimated my ability to focus or I underestimated the task's complexity. I'm very sorry to hear that, Neville. And, I think the thing that you want to work on in order to change this is to really like just get a piece of paper and jot down your start time on a task and your finish time. And it might be even like when you take a break because you've worked for 5 minutes and now you need a break. That's fine. We want to try to get a sense of how long you can work before you need a break and ultimately how long something does take. The other thing is that before you commit to doing a task, take a look at the task, a thorough look, and really think about how long this little portion is going to take. And whatever you think it's going to take, double it. Double it. If you think it's going to take you 10 minutes to get from here to there, allocate 20. So then you don't have to worry if something comes up or the traffic's bad or you're running late. Elo, I love the bullet journal, but then when I do not have it with me, I start writing on my phone, post-its. How do I develop a system that works with how to ADHD? So I think that having a system is really important. And if you want to use post-its, that's fine. Then you'd have to translate whatever's on your phone to post-its. And where are you putting those post-its? I mean, if you get a big poster board and you're putting them up there and your poster board has days of the week and you put the tasks on the days or the days are broken down into hours, that's helpful. But if you're just putting them onto your phone and then they're just lost in the black hole of your phone, then you're not going to be able to actually come back to them. Michelle wants to know, how do you help a teen with ADHD get out of bed for school? And Lynn wants to know, how do you sort it? Okay, so how to help a teen with ADHD get out of bed for school. So it's not so exciting to get out of bed for school anymore if you're a teenager, because the thing that usually draws teens to school is seeing their friends. It's the whole social aspect of school, and that's not really present online. In fact, at my school district, kids who are online who show up, they don't even have to show their face. They can just say their name on the screen, and that's okay. I'm vehemently opposed to that. I think if you show up for school, you need to show up. Now, I would sit down and talk to your teen about what their goals are for school, what their goals are for themselves. What difference does it make when they're not on time? And could you link being on time with earning a point or earning points that then translate into free screen time that they want later? We're going to link that have to that want to. Talk with your teen about how fighting with them every morning is unpleasant for them and it's unpleasant for you. So what is a routine that you can make? An alarm clock goes off, they fall back to sleep, you come in or you come in the first time, or you come in when the alarm goes off a second time and say, okay, that was your second alarm, time to get up, and you stand there until they get out of bed. That no is not an option, because the agreement is that they want to get B's or they want to earn their screen time for later. I think that if kids then are refusing to do even that it's time to get some help, because there might be some depression, there might be some anxiety. There's a sense of hopelessness a lot right now for teens. They feel like, what's the point? And so we want to help them figure out what the point is. What is a point that matters to them, and how you can link things to each other. Lynn wants to know how you sort it. Okay, so you're in your basement, all right? Or you're in your basement and you have your little to 1 foot radius of stuff. Um, so you pick up some shoes. You haven't worn them in 5 years. You're saving them just in case. That would probably be a giveaway. You don't wear them. The just in case hasn't come in 3 years. Those could be a giveaway. You pick up a sweater. You wore it last year, but it has a hole, and so you need to take it to a place to get the hole fixed, but you have it in the bag. So that's a keep, and it goes in the keep pile. It may go in a to-do pile if you want to put that on. Yeah, you pick up a toy that belonged to your child when they were 5, and now they're 25. That's probably a giveaway or a trash. So you have to ask certain questions, and those questions would be, how long have I had this? When was the last time I used it? How often do I use it? And what condition is this item in? How long have I had it? When was the last time I used it? How often have I used it? And what condition is this item in? And that will guide you, I think, toward determining things. You could also add a 5th question, which is, could someone else use this item more than I could? Julie, my son doesn't manage priorities and homework, and he almost never wants to work. I'm bad because of yelling. You're not bad. You're not bad. You make some mistakes. You're human. You're not bad, though. And he almost never wants to work. Okay. I'm worried. He likes sports, but without a focus, with or without, he can't focus a while. How can he get involved? He doesn't want to work with me. Julie, you're in France. I would say bonsoir. Um, so right now, um, he's struggling with focusing. And so for kids who focus with their homework and struggle with this, there are 2 things I think you can do. One is you can order the homework in an order that helps make them successful. So do they like to do something easy, get on a roll, then do something harder? Do they like to do the hard thing, get it out of the way, and then do something easier? You want to figure out what makes the most sense for your son. Then you want to create work blocks. You work for how long can your son work before he starts to get distracted or he needs a break? Maybe that's 5 minutes, maybe that's 15 minutes. And then what's the total amount of time where you can actually expect him to work? It sounds like the total amount of time for him might be an hour maximum. So maybe he could work in a 15-minute block, have a 5-minute break. A 15-minute block, have a 5-minute break, and a final 10-minute block, and then he's done. Talk to him about creating a plan with less arguments that has an incentive at the end when he finishes that hour that's something he really wants. And if you're interested in sports or you have a partner who's interested in sports, see if you can do something as a family a couple times a week. Go for a hike, ride your bikes, go for a run, something where everybody's active together if he's having trouble doing this on his own. Abdelli, hi. Could you please give me some advice? I'm an ADHD teacher. They say I'm good at class, but they don't know how I'm suffering from documentations at home. We lose motivation quickly, even on life projects. Today I moved to a new house, and the first night I lost the keys, not just the keys. Okay, so so I'm not sure what your question is, Abdelli, I'm sorry. It sounds like you're struggling with keeping track of your things and with documentation. And so it might be worthwhile to try to get a coach or find somebody who can help you create some systems of keeping track of your things. One of the things that I like to do with my clients is that they have a place where it's sort of like a drop it place, and that's a place where the keys go, their wallet, their phone, or something, so that they can find things easily. And in terms of your documentation, what you might need to do is break it down into smaller chunks. Like today I'm going to do this part, and then tomorrow I'm going to do this part. So Karen, you get mad at yourself. So again, I would say let's not get mad, let's get busy. So let's get active. So you're going to do all the laundry or as much as possible. I think your chunks that you set for yourself might be too big. So maybe just do the whites today, do the colors tomorrow. And I think that, if you break things down, it would be easier. Maybe the maximum laundry you can do is one or two loads. That's fine. You don't have to do all of them. Do what you can do. Donna, my big issue is dealing with my 3 adult kids with ADHD and my own ADHD. I'm like the mouse herding cats. What do I do with the anger that I feel when I'm super frustrated with a 27-year-old's 12-year-old appropriate behavior? So I hear you, Donna. I think a lot of parents who have older kids, young adults who are living at home with them are frustrated. And one of the common frustrations is that the kids don't do the chores or tasks that you ask them to do that they're supposed to be responsible for. One of the things that has helped some of my clients is to renegotiate those things, to have the kids say, what I like to do is this. You're asking me to do this, which I hate. So I have a client whose parents were on her case that she had to do the dishes, twice a day. And she said to me, Sharon, I hate doing the dishes. I said, okay, what do you like doing? I like taking care of the cat, cleaning the litter box, feeding the cat. I like taking the stuff out to the compost pile. I like taking the trash out. I'll even vacuum. I don't want to do the dishes. And I said, great. Let's go to your parents with that information. Because if they're interested in doing it or they don't mind doing it, the chances of them doing that are better. So what we came to was an agreement where my client would do the compost and the trash and the cat, and then at dinner, she would clear her plate and clear all the other stuff from the table and put the food away. And that seemed to work better, and there's been much less fighting since they started that. I agree with you, Natasha. Sharon, what are things that an ADHD person might struggle with in first year? Math, calculus, and physics tests. It, it requires more brain power to apply. Is this where skills in taking tests become important? Working memory was not repressed, only slow processing speed. Thank you. So if you're in school and you have ADHD and you have some challenges, you should absolutely be getting accommodations. There's no question about it. And those accommodations would include, time and a half on tests to accommodate for slow processing speed, maybe having an accommodation where you receive the lecture notes so you can listen instead of take notes, meeting with the teacher or a tutor once a week to go over challenging concepts. Again, I want to remind you that the raffle for my ADHD card deck ends Sunday. Please enter on the side. Heather says, my son is 12. He has issues with his emotions, not getting his way. A lot of kids are struggling with this right now. Remember that the ADHD brain matures more slowly, so a 12-year-old may be more like a 9-year-old in this way. And with all of the frustration and disappointment due to COVID-19 that kids are experiencing, their abilities for resilience are diminished. So not getting his way is a sign, is a signal he's so frustrated that he doesn't have control in his daily life. And he doesn't. He doesn't have the kind of autonomy and independence that he's had before. So what we want to do is to find some areas where he can exert some authority and control, and let him know that he has that. Give him what I call directed free choices. You can do this or you can do that. And that will allow him a sense of, I get to choose what I'm doing. Okay. Harlan, one of the hugest misunderstandings I find with my peers is believing neurotypicals don't need tools for memory and they judge themselves. I mean, look in most folks' email inboxes. Absolutely. I mean, I think that everybody struggles with working memory. It's just the degree and the intensity and the frequency. So, plenty of neurotypicals, particularly once if they're menopausal women or they get through the other side, if they're perimenopausal women or they've been through menopause. And as people age, their capacity for memory, it just dwindles. And so everybody has little tricks and little mnemonics. And so I don't want you to feel bad for the ways that you need to remind yourself. And if people are giving you a hard time for those things, I would just say put on your Teflon suit and walk in the other direction. And, maybe you can't really walk, but don't take that in. Sarah, you're asking for a book about tips for ADHD life. I guess about women with ADHD. I would encourage you to look at Sari Soldin's books, Sarisoldn. Also, Kathleen Nadeau has written a number of books. There are plenty of coaches, women coaches who've written books. Linda Rogley, Terry Matlin has written a great book. Her book was The Queen of Distraction. So any of these I think would be useful. And I'll take one more question and then we have to stop. I don't know where the time goes. It's really unbelievable. I'm going to take these two. I'm going to take Shannon and Liz. Shannon, I'm just now at 45 coming to terms with an ADHD diagnosis when all these years I thought I had a major learning disorder. Add to that PTSD and major depressive disorder. I'm a brand new SPED teacher and co-teacher and very overwhelmed. Add 2 kids with ADHD, dyslexia. I have no time to catch up on the weekends. So Shannon, I think the thing that would help you the most is creating a kind of calendar for yourself with blocks of time that are set for you to self-care, for you to do particular pieces of your work. And when you're going to attend to your kids. And if you have a partner or a family member who can help you with supervision. One of the things that happens with overwhelms is when we're overwhelmed is we feel piled on. We can't see what we're doing or where we're doing it. And so I would encourage you to try to create a map for yourself. And Liz says, my doctor on Medicaid refuses to prescribe me any ADD meds because they are a controlled substance. I've been on them for 25 years, just went on Medicaid. What do I do to get it? Go to a different doctor. Seek out a different prescriber because Medicaid absolutely pays for ADHD medication. I have many patients who've been on Medicaid and they all take medication and it's prescribed by someone other than me, of course. So perhaps find a different doctor. There you go, Donnie. You and I agree. Okay, Michelle, we've tried that with 2. We've tried different types of clocks. Even the dog's crying to get out of his room doesn't move him. One clock watch is a timer for the visual person. Yeah, I think that's a good answer. It's so hard when kids are feeling just lethargic and kind of hopeless and helpless about their lives. They don't want to get out. They're not looking forward to what they're getting up for. So is there something that your sons could look forward to during the day that would help get them out of bed? And could you link getting out of bed to that thing they're looking forward to? Setting timers is great. Okay. And then Dana, I'll take you as the last one. Backwards design makes me anxious because I don't like being on a time schedule since I'm on one all day at my job. How do I get over being anxious when dealing with time management? So why not just create a time in your life where yes, you're going to use time management here, but you're not going to use it there. It seems like you need some free and easy time that's not structured or assigned to something. So put some chunks in your schedule where you don't have to necessarily accommodate a clock. I think that would give you some relief and create some balance for the times when you do. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I want to remind you to enter the sweepstakes. Please follow me on Facebook at Dr. Sharon Saline and check out my website. There's a free downloadable when you sign up, www.drsharonsaline.com. And may you have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you next week. Thanks so much.